quiz. Does anybody have any questions about things before we dive into that? Oh, Katerina, sorry. Yeah, do you have a specific one from worksheet 2 you would like to talk about? Okay. 1? Sure. So, first thing I'm going to do is recognize that theta equals sine inverse of 0.11. It's the same thing as sine of 0.11, or sine theta 0.11. Sine I know is the same as y, and I know that the y is positive in quadrants 1 and 2. Then I'm going to look at my range here, or my interval that I'm solving over. Since these are positive values, I know I'm going to be rotating counterclockwise. So I start on the positive x-axis. So that's a half a pi. Well, that's where I'm at there. To 1 pi, to 1.5 pies. So that's quadrants 2 and 3. My answer then, I know, lies in quadrant 2. The only place where both of them can be positive, or where both of them can happen, I should say. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my picture. Oops. How do I know what?
The angle.
Each quadrant is a half a pi, so I'm just counting, right? So there's my initial side. I know my answer, my terminal side, lies in quadrant 2. So there's my theta. The part of the x-axis that's between my terminal side, or that is closest to my terminal side, is over here at pi. And this is my angle phi. So I'm going to ask myself, is theta bigger or smaller than pi? Just looking at the picture, you should be able to tell. It's smaller. Why is it smaller? Because it doesn't cross over pi yet. So to get theta, I know that I'm going to have to be subtracting from pi, because pi is too big. What should I subtract from it? Phi. And how do I calculate a phi? It's going to be the inverse, but I need to make sure I'm taking the absolute value of whatever I have inside of it. Now, for this one, it doesn't really matter because the number was positive, but... And then it's just calculator time. What mode should my calculator be in for this problem? Radians. How do I know it should be using radians? Well, the directions ask for radians, but also in my work, I used pi instead of 180. If I wanted degrees, I would have had to write a 180 there. You know what I mean? So again, I did the absolute value in my head. The absolute value of 0.11 is just 0.11. So there's my answer, 303. Just FYI, we can check that. If I do sine of that, I should get back 0.11, which I did. And that 303 should be between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. So it's definitely bigger than that one. And definitely smaller than this one. So I'm satisfied that I have the correct answer because it satisfies both this part and this part. Does that help?
Yeah.
Follow-ups on that, anyone?
So just determining if it's subtracting or adding is just what's placed on the top.
Yeah, just looking at the picture.
Okay.
As you just should be able to tell by looking at the picture. You're just comparing theta to the where it's crossing the x-axis at, if it happens before phi or after phi.
Okay, and how how do you determine where I is?
It's always between the terminal side and the x-axis.
Alright.
Is that okay? Yeah.
And that's for all of them, and like, almost makes it a vote.
The phi is always between the terminal side and the x-axis.
Sorry, I didn't.
I'm just going to repeat. Always between the terminal side and the x-axis.
Okay, can you stop? Like, sorry.
You can think about it any way you want. I'm going to answer it the same way I answered it because I'm not really sure what I understand that I understand what you mean by bow tie. But that's okay.
Guys, stop.
Hey, it's okay, man. Whatever works.
I think it looks like a bow tie. Sorry.
Sure.
No, you do not just call it.
Guys, like, stop. Okay, like, I just had a dumb blonde moment. Like, please stop.
All right. Everybody okay? All right. Well, let's do this quiz, and then when everybody's finished, we'll go back and talk about the test. All right. So test format is here in the OneNote. So first two questions ask you to use the calculator to find an angle, report your answer in radians. Notice here it doesn't specify an interval. So what does that mean? What are you going to really be doing? So you just type that stuff in your calculator and press enter, right? Like that's all it's asking you to do. Like, can you literally just type this in your calculator and press enter? Right? Big deal or no big deal? Like littlest deal there's ever been, right? For a question to find the exact value of an angle in radians. So in trigonometry, when we ask for an exact value, what are we going to be using? Unit circle. Does it specify an interval there? No. So what are you going to have to use as the interval? Going to have to be using the actual ranges for the inverses. So like the range is the thing you're going to be using. So you'd need to have those. If I was writing a note card, would I want to put those on there? Oh, yes, I would. I wouldn't want to forget them. Got to have them to be able to do that. Okay?
So put that one type thing on there.
Just the ranges for each of the inverses
Sounds good.
is really all I would care about. You can put the other things on there, but I don't think they'll be very helpful. Question 2, find the exact value of a composition. What am I talking about there? I'm talking about one of these things like problems 11 through 14. Right? We did this in the notes. Since it's asking for an exact value, what are you going to be using? Unit circle, very good. And notice that we have inverses in here, right? But we don't have a specified interval. So what are we going to be using also? The ranges for those inverses. Again, please make sure you write those down on your note card. That'd be something very helpful. Question 2, or 2 questions where I ask you to find the angle on a given interval, reporting your answer in radians. What is this a question like? It's just like a worksheet 2 question, right? So what do you want for that? Well, you should probably remember like what quadrants x's and y's are positive and negative in. Probably want to know that x is cosine, y is sine, tangent is sine or y over x, and all that jazz, right? Maybe an example problem or 2. Does that sound about right? One question where I ask you to solve the triangle. Note here that we're asking for an answer in degrees. So what are you going to have to remember to be doing on this quiz or this test? or changing your calculator's mode. So you're going to have to be careful switching your mode back and forth. Everybody's okay with that? This is me reminding you. Try to remember to remind you again. When I say solve the triangle, what do we mean we're finding? All the side lengths and all the angle measures, right? What do we use to find an angle measure? An inverse, like sine inverse, cosine inverse, tangent inverse, etc., depending on which side you're using. What do you use to find a side length? Oh boy, guys. The regular version, like sine, cosine, tangent, right? Depending on which angle you want to be using and which side you're looking for. And then 2 questions using angle of elevation or angle of depression story problem situations. So again, this would be just like stuff you did in worksheet 3 or things that you did in the problems like 19 through 23 or whatever. What do you guys think? What thing might be helpful for the solve the triangles problems? If it's a right triangle, SOHCAHTOA, right? In trigonometry, if you're dealing with right triangles, you almost are always going to be using the right triangle definition for sine, cosine, tangent, right? SOHCAHTOA. If you don't have that memorized, maybe you want to include that. I'm guessing most of us have that memorized, but like, you know, I'm just trying to talk and help. I'm just trying to be helpful. You know? You know what I mean? I don't want it to be surprises. I just wanted to be like, okay, that's what I expected. I went and studied what I was supposed to, and I felt like I knew what I was supposed to do. I want to be like, oh boy. Yeah, study chapter 4. And then you just get like, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember, you know, like, here's some stuff to practice. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be helpful. Help me help you. What do you guys think? You feel okay on this? On what to expect anyways? Again, you guys get half sheet. Ideally, it's got to be, I'd like them today before you go. If that becomes unrealistic, end of the day's okay. Tomorrow morning's okay. If it's after the start of second hour, though, I'm not taking it because the tests have come out. Okay? So if you don't do it today, don't forget, write yourself a big important note. You got to get it to me before the start of second hour. At the absolute latest, anything after there, I'm not taking it. I'm just going to take it from you, wad it up in a ball, and throw it in the garbage can right in front of you. I'm just joking. I wouldn't actually do that. But I would tell you that, like, it's too late. They need to do it before that. I'd be nice about it, although I shouldn't. Should be mean! I feel like I'm mean enough. You don't need me any meaner. I'm the appropriate level of mean. Maybe I had the average level of mean. Now it's a math joke. Right? Because mean is the average. So you're mean. I can keep going. No? That one actually got a chuckle. Matt. Of course. All right. I'm done talking. Everybody's okay? If you have questions about stuff,